Hello, everyone. Just reading, Anthony Joshua's driver has been charged to court. Among some of the charges is that he was driving without a valid passport. This. He was involved in an accident. Himself and Anthony Joshua. I think Anthony Joshua, according to some of the report, he was sitting behind him, and he ended up. He was not injured, but a friend of his and whether his coach, but two people died in that accident. And when this accident happened, the first thing I thought about was that I thought about what kind of driver were they driving. And I saw a picture of the driver. He looked like someone who was really like professional. And now to hear that he was driving without a driver's license, without a valid driver's license, and a whole lot of them, is that there's a certain kind of anyhowness in Nigeria that happens. You understand? We know that accident happens, but there are certain things that are done to prevent accidents from happening, to ensure that everyone is safe. That's why you see in places they will put speed limits, they will give you rules and regulation, what to drive, how to drive. How is it that a whole superstar like this, with this huge big car, that car, from what is it's like an armored car, bulletproof, of course, you're on the road, and someone who it's not at the peak of professionalism is the one driving the car. For him not to even have a valid driver's license, that's enough reason why he should not have been driving someone whom, Anthony Joshua says it's like you have a player worth how much? It's his body that he's using. His business is his body. You understand that he uses to box. That you're putting it in that way. It tells you just how much. We've had accidents upon accidents upon accidents, and I can tell you a good number of them are preventable. They are preventable. But because of the way the system is, the people are. Look, there are no good people anywhere. There are no law-abiding citizens anywhere. It is the system and the country and everything that forces people to be law-abiding. You can't just stay like that. And that's why we cannot continue to sit down and watch Nigeria become what it is and continue to allow it to be what it is. We must build a nation where there is that maximum law and order. When we go out of this country, we go to certain countries, we know how we behave. Why? Because if you don't behave in that way, the system is going to come after you. The state is going to come after you. A whole lot is going to be after you. You're not going to bribe your way out of anything. Nobody will tell you not to. Okay, you jump that line, you drive too much, you're going to get a ticket. By the time you get those tickets that you're paying so much money, it is not with math they will tell you that, oh, you need to now get yourself together and do the needful. Anthony Joshua accident, driver charged with reckless driving, granted 5 million naira bail. Ogun State Police Command has arraigned the driver of a Lexus sports utility vehicle involved in fatal road traffic accident involving former world heavyweight boxing champion Anthony Joshua. And sometimes also you see people driving so recklessly. And even when you talk, you have to, oh no, it can't be like that. And I'll give you an example. When we're coming from Enugu, we left Enugu. So there was no, for those of us who were returning back to Abuja, there was no flight from Enugu down to Abuja. So we had to go to Asaba. So we drove from Enugu all the way to Asaba. Our flight was now around 7, was it around 5? Yes, so we left, I think around 1, 2. We had to even leave before the program ended. In short, that speech that you saw me make, we're supposed to leave by 1 because we needed to catch up in Asaba to get our flight. I had come out, people were stopping me, taking pictures and everything. Also, when they started calling my name in the hall, for those of you who watch it live, you would have seen where they would say, "Oh, Aisha Isufu, where is Aisha?" Where a senator would say, "Where is Aisha? Oh, bring her back. She needs to come back. She needs to come and make." So I had to come back from outside to come and make that speech. Immediately I made that speech, I came down. It was straight to go into the vehicle and start going to the airport. And as we were going at one time, the driver was really driving, too fast. And I will tell you something. I'm also a driver who drives very fast. I drive very fast. I remember there was some years ago, there was a time I drove all the way from Kaduna to Kano Nobody passed me on that road. I was only the one passing people. I remember when I got to Kano, and I called my husband and said, what happened? Was it? And I said to my husband, oh no, I've gotten to Kano. He screamed. He said for him to, he was still sitting where I left him, where he lived. So, but the thing is that in as much as you're driving very fast, there are certain things you have to watch, that you take. You will not that you go and be swerving, overtaking where you can't see the other this thing, or in a bend in something like that, or you see an oncoming vehicle, you're overtaking because you are putting your horn, you think the person must move and stuff like that. And so this driver was driving a bit. I'm like, so at one time I'm like, no, please reduce your speed. You have driving, it's a bit, your driving is a bit reckless. I better calm down. Worst case scenario, we miss our flight and it's okay. And one of the persons we were going with, oh no, there's not that. Have you not been in convoy before? I said, this is not a convoy. If you have a convoy, when there's a convoy, there's a siren going on, and then people, learn to get. I said, this is just a single car, and you're just flying like this. Oh no, I said yes. Everyone she said, I said yes, but those people, we just had an accident that happened, the other time with Tony. I just, oh no, it can't be like that. I said, that's what everybody thinks. People think it can never be there. We are all victims waiting to happen. You are no more than whatever it is that had happened to someone else. So these are also some of the things we must learn to, when people feel out, not like, I just saw you and said, please, you need to reduce your speed. You need to take the worst case scenario that will happen is that we miss our flight, and then we book another flight, or we sleep in Asaba and come over the flight. I would rather do that than this Russian roulette that you're playing with our lives and just, driving down. As earlier reported by Vanguard, the driver, Adeni Imobolaji Kayode, 46, was on Friday charged before a Sagamu magistrate court, according to the police public relations officer in the state, DSP Olisheyi Babasheyi. The charge includes dangerous driving, causing death, contrary to Section 5(1) of the Federal Highway Act. And then other counts are reckless and negligent driving, contrary to Section 6(1) of the same act, driving without due care and attention, causing bodily harm and damage to property, contrary to Section 7(1), and driving without a valid national driver's license. I'm gonna take that later. And driving without a valid national driver's license, contrary to Section 10(1) of the Federal Highway Act. The court granted the defender bail in the sum of 5 million naira with 2 sureties. He was remanded in custody pending the fulfillment of the bail condition. The case was adjourned to January 20, 2026 for proceeding. I mean, for someone like Anthony Joshua, how could they? I mean, sometimes, we just think this, it doesn't matter. Everything matters. You need to have gotten this real professional, this thing that know where they drive. There are certain drivers that they tell you can't go beyond so limit. This is how far you're going to go. And like some said, oh, it was this time, because when you're on speed, any small swerving like this, you are going far because you were driving so far. And then there are people who, they don't have mind, they don't have liver, anything, would go. And unfortunately, we told the unfortunate that with that temporary stationary car that was parked there. And the most painful part of it all is the fact that days after, and I don't even know whether that car had been removed, that car was still there. The trailer that was parked by the road was still there. You would have thought it would have been removed. But one of the things I would say, I wish a lot of people said the road safety were there not too long after that. That's one of the things. Road safety, and I must say this, is one of the institutions that is really working in this country. And it shows that things can work in this country when we put the right kind of things, guidelines and procedures and in place, organization and everything in place. Why don't we as a nation attach ambulances and all of that to road safety? So that let road safety also run ambulances scheme, so that when they arrive at a place, they should also come with, what's the name that they call them? That the EMT, I know they call them EMTs in the US, emergency medical. I don't know what's the full word of it, but they will have doctors and all of those people that take care of emergency, so that we can just kill like two birds with one stone, have that emergency disease, so that when they come, they just don't come alone like that. They would then be able to render whatever medical assistance that can actually safeguard lives that could go on. That could also be something that we'll do. Thank you so much for watching.